how much, Joe, have you looked at, Larry Fink, Soros, State Street, Vanguard, BlackRock? How much have you looked at what they're doing and what their ties are?
I've looked at it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They're pretty much running everything.
Yeah.
S&P.
So I ran into this, and you know what? People can say a lot about what they want when it comes to, they can say whatever they want when it comes to Patrick Bet-David. There are times where I've given him the business. I don't agree with his foreign policy necessarily. I don't have to, but what I do think, what I believe is, believe it or not, is that if it came down to it and he had to make a decision, he would make an America First decision. That's a fact. I seriously believe that about Patrick Bet-David. I do. So I give him a lot of grace. And the other thing I like about him is that he goes on Joe Rogan and he starts talking about this stuff, because you need to really listen to, we'll look at this clip a little bit. And yes, some of y'all probably have already seen it. Drop a comment and let me know if you've seen it and what you think about it. But the fact that he's kind of breaking this thing down is really patriotic of him, because when they give you the names, what you need to know is that they give you the names in the video and they discuss like certain groups, Vanguard, BlackRock, right? Those are the ones that we're allowed to say over and over again. That's fine. And then it's your duty as an American to look deeper on your own and look into maybe how many other groups are out there, right? Obviously, I can't do that for you on the channel right now because, y'all already know. But, let's see what they're saying at face value here. Let's start off at least with this level.
500, the number that 88% of the companies on S&P 500, 88% of them, the largest shareholder of those companies is either State Street, BlackRock, or Vanguard. 88% of them. Okay. And then you see their influence in defense contracts. Okay. So
88% of them, this is BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. Okay. He's going to get into defense contracts, which is something that is very important to think about, because we are facing war in every, there's no corners of the earth, right? But my God, in every hemisphere or whatever you want, there's something going on. You got the Indo-Pacific, the Middle East, you got the Russia, Ukraine, like my God. Okay. And so let's listen to that.
Went through a deal. I'm like, let me see if these guys, this ESG, Larry Fink, Vanguard, State Street, if they have any influence on military contract, defense contracts. If you Google the largest shareholder for Raytheon, 3 out of the 4 top shareholders of Raytheon, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. It could be top 3 with Raytheon, but I think it's 3 out of 4. If you go look.
So he says if you Google it, you go look and it'll say that, right? Even Google has been starting to get a little weird. We'll put it that way. Okay. These topics, this discussion is good that they documented it, and hopefully it could stay long for a while, because I truly believe that one day they're going to say like, this is hate speech. Yup. I do. I really do. By the way, guys, if you like the videos, guys, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel, guys. Anyway, I'm not going to keep giving the spiel, right? And hit the notification bell. I love making these videos. I love talking about topics like this. I really do. And there's more to come. I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching, though.
Look up General Dynamics. If you go look up Boeing, if you go look up, Northrop Grumman, okay? And then you work backwards and you say, okay, how much money is that in what these guys are doing? You'll find the amount of money we spent in our military, $744 billion on how much we're making from defense. But you'll see some numbers saying last year is 13% of our GDP, which is around $850 billion. That's more than the next 10 combined. We gave more money to Ukraine than Russia spent on their military last year.
So, and let me tell you, when he says that, now I understand when he was on Piers Morgan and he was like, we don't give that much to Israel or whatever, right? And everybody kind of clowned him because in accumulation, we have given more. But I also understood his point where giving $100 billion to Ukraine in one sitting, that is something that's never been done before. So I get his position on that too.
When you look at these contracts, then you're like, okay, Fink is there. These guys are there. Okay, let's go look at Hollywood. Same thing you see there. Let's go look at pharmaceutical. Let's go look at this. And you're like, wait a minute. These guys essentially have a monopoly. Well, how big is BlackRock? $10 trillion. How big is $10 trillion? Only 2 countries have a bigger GDP than what BlackRock has, assets under management, US and China. That's how big BlackRock is. So then they went and they started getting all these other guys to sign on and say, hey, we want you to participate with the same thing as well with ESG. And they ended up having, I think they had 31 signers. I think end of 2022, they got 60 something signers for a total of $70 trillion of assets under management that they're controlling.
Wow.
So now they're controlling other places. And just recently, if you saw the rebuilding of Ukraine, did you see this contract? Rebuilding of Ukraine, $400 billion contract. BlackRock and Chase is helping rebuild Ukraine. And then, okay, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but what the hell is going on here? They have that much control to get everybody to do what they want them to do? Yes. So Dylan Mulvaney, who cares? Why? Bud Light. How does that tie up? You got the DEI, the HRC, the human rights, and all this stuff. And then you go even deeper, which is even the crazier part with, the education, schools, like, the biggest union we have in America. I think it's National Education something. NEA is the largest union we have. 3 million teachers are part of that union. And you look at that and you go deeper in that with open society and who's funding it, who's the money behind these organizations. Comes back, Soros. How do you feel about the kind of power they have right now to fight against them? Because this isn't like a billionaire can come out and say, I'm going to go up against these guys. They don't have a little bit of money. A billionaire to these guys is nothing. They got the kind of control that can make companies fire boards. They can replace CEOs. They can replace leaders if they don't like. They have their hands so much into it where many times when people say the people of power, I'm kind of like, who are the people of power? Are you convinced these guys are really running the world? Or what do you think about what some of these bigger companies are doing, like State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock?
Well, they certainly have.
I mean, I couldn't even cut him off, and I'm not even going to add my 2 cents in. Let's just see what Joe Rogan says.
Massive amounts of influence. What do you think they're doing?
It's the question is, how do you fight it? Like, for example, the way we fight mainstream is by what? The show that we do. And we have to be patient. It's going to take 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years. Now you have some influence, right? Okay, we can fight. There is an actual strategy on how to fight that. No problem. You got a kid in school who's a bully. He's bigger than you. He keeps bullying you. You have a strategy on how to beat the guy. You take a year, jiu-jitsu 2 years, this, that. Boom. One fight, he knows, I'm never going to touch Joe again. Screw this.
So I'm like, these episodes are actually a little longer than so I'm not mad about it because I didn't know how interesting this really was. Like, when you think about it, I've heard these, you hear the names like BlackRock, Vanguard, whatever. Oh, BlackRock. But it's like the breakdown of all of this, of these asset management companies. And it's like, wow, is the world an asset?
This thing, I'm not doing this no more, right? There is a play to it. When you have this much, Joe, 88% of S&P 500 companies, that is a form of a monopoly. If I'm a president, whether it's a Trump or whoever else goes out there and does it, our monopoly law in America is 50%. They say 50%. Like if you tie and said, at what point is it 50%? I've done calls with the FTC. Like we had one of our guys' technology we were using. The FTC called and said, hey, we want to have a call with you because they're thinking about buying this other technology company and we're worried it's going to be a monopoly. So we had the call, okay? At the end of the call with us, with a bunch of different people, we said, we love their product, we love their product. That deal didn't end up happening, okay? The monopoly law. Some of these guys are influencing it. But they say 50% is a monopoly law. Do you know how many people in America have an iPhone versus Droid? You know what the numbers, market shares in America with iPhones?
I think it's like 60.
58%, 60%. That is already a monopoly. But who's knocking on the door of Apple? Tim Cook saying, hey, Tim, you got 58%. That's breaking a monopoly law. Nobody is.
Exactly. And you know what? And they go into this other part, and like, you know, I'm not even gonna, it's just this conversation is leaving me stunned because I watched a teeny bit of it, but I'm over here like, wow, like it's not new news, right? Like we know this, we've been talking about this, but like, why don't we really talk about this more and like really, really unravel it and break it down and talk about it? You know? Shout out to him for bringing it to our attention. I mean, and not to say bring it to our attention, right? But to take the leap and bravery to talk about this in this total detail. This is a leap.
Quote, I think.
And he's not the only one who does it. I know. I'm just saying anybody who does do it.
I think it's, if you type in LA Times, Soros, God. If you type in LA Times, Soros, God, when you hear what he says, it's like the second to the last paragraph all the way to the bottom. The guy asks a question, you know, about who he views himself as. I want to quote it properly, exactly what he says in this
Is there
interview.
a video of him saying this?
Yeah, 60 minutes. There's a video as well. So if you go all the way to the bottom, go a little bit higher, on the quote.
I'm sorry, like just kind of cut it a little bit. This suit is on point though, by the way. Sorry. Has nothing to do with it. But like I'm really admiring the cut. Everything is sitting right. This is perfect.
Next to my friends, no, go a little higher. I think it's a little higher. Keep going higher. Sort of a demonstration. Keep going higher. Prevailing values. A little higher. There's a part where he says, keep going. What year is this article, by the way? Is this it's an old article. It's supposed to be
2004.
That's the one. This is the one. Okay, right there.
It is.
It seems that Soros believes he was anointed by God. I fancied myself as some kind of a god. If truth be known, I carried some rather potent messianic fantasies with me from childhood, which I felt I had to control. Otherwise, they might get me in trouble. And then on the next line, when asked by Britain's independent newspaper to elaborate on the passage, Soros says, it is sort of a disease when you consider yourself some kind of a god, the creator of everything, but I feel comfortable about it now since I began to live it out.
And we'll stop there. You know, this person's not a made-up person. This isn't one of those things that, you know, you're just like, oh, yeah, but, you know, like, no. You know what? Again, let it marinate. Let it fully marinate. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button if you've made it this far. Thank you for watching. We need to start streaming, and I need to also get a connection with Rumble. So when we do start streaming and it gets hot like fire, we can just kind of tack it on to Rumble, because there's certain conversations that we need to have, and we're getting to the end game